Right now, it's my pleasure to introduce to you once again our founder, Dr. Paul Leon Masters.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. It makes me feel very, very good to see all of the graduates as they come in here this morning. It makes me feel good, it makes them feel good, and hopefully it'll make a lot of other people that they come into contact with feel good. Feel good about themselves because they'll know that there's something more to them than maybe they have been told previously. That something else is the spiritual extra dimension to every human being that exists on this planet. Whenever I get up to do these talks, generally to a graduating class and to family members and so forth, I will give the history of the organization starting from 1959. However, I'm going to move away from that particular pattern this morning because I believe that everything is a divine inspiration, that nothing takes place by coincidence. And therefore, as I came in this morning, empty-headed, allowing the universe to fill it, one of the graduates came up to me and said, "Here's my book. I just want to give you a copy." Sherry Showalter, PhD. Where are you, Sherry? All right. Would you stand up and let the people... Now, okay. So Sherry wasn't expecting this. This is totally... All right, you can sit down now. I want to show what happens when people complete their courses, that it opens up a wide new vista for them. On the back, this is Sherry's bio. The title of the book, incidentally, is Healing Heartaches, which is an awfully good title. Sherry Showalter, PhD. Where from? From here. A National Heart of Hospice recipient for psychosocial spiritual caregiving, has long been an advocate for patients and families coping with loss, dying, and bereavement. She proudly served with other first responders at the Pentagon during the 9/11 and continues to work with those coping with sudden and traumatic losses. She is an author, speaker, and psychotherapist living in Florida, enjoying magnificent sunsets on the Gulf of Mexico. Sherry often says, "I am continually amazed at the resiliency of the human spirit. Indeed, every day is a gift." For those that are family and friends that are attending, graduating gives that extra boost. So, and I'm sure that there are others here in this audience that have already written books. By being a graduate, it gives further acceptance by the public at large. And so that is one of the byproducts here. I believe the proof is in the pudding. Talk is cheap, and talk really doesn't mean anything in the end anyway, because the only thing that really matters is the still small voice of God that speaks to us each and every day. Everything else that we do on a conscious level in human form is really superfluous to the real conversation that should be taking place between the superconscious, that particular part of God's spirit that exists within each and every one of us, and the conscious mind, like an open vessel ready to receive it. Now that's one proof of in the pudding. Again, just before the graduation, James L. Beard, life coach, Sheriff's Department, County of Los Angeles. I'm going to ask, where are you, James? Good, you're in a good position to be able to step forth. There's no chairs in front of you immediately. I'm going to ask you, James, to come up here on the podium. The proof is in the pudding. James, I'm going to ask you to share with everyone here, the graduates, family, and friends, what you told me just before we started this morning. The mic is yours.
Thank you. First, I want to thank you. And that's what I said to him this morning. I said, thank you, Dr. Masters, for your work. Because I've been in the criminal justice field for about 35 years. And I've worked state, federal, county jails and penitentiaries. And what I told Dr. Masters is this, that we have the highest recidivism rate in the country in terms of men who don't come back to jail to batter. I run a batterers prevention program for very violent men that batter women and who do other violent crimes. And because of the principles Dr. Masters and the University of Metaphysics have bestowed upon me, I've been able to basically, guys who don't have any concept of spirituality, when they hear metaphysics, they get it. They get it. And what happens is because we move to a level of having them understand their fundamental nature and how consciousness works, then they, all of a sudden, that spiritual eyes open and they say, hey, I can do something different with my life. So thank you. Thank you so much.
The proof is in the pudding. In the trenches of life, right firsthand, working with supposedly the impossible, working with those that so many go back to prison, so many cannot change that mindset. You see how the power can work with even those that we would never suspect or expect to somehow make it back to living a normal life, to contributing to society. That even if these souls can be resurrected literally, then there is a chance then for the average neurotic. Now that's where all of you are heading. You're heading into the world of neurosis. It welcomes you. You love it, it'll love you back, you'll do well. Here we have an idea of what can change the world. What can change the world is when the world changes itself. Right now, the world is walking around in diapers. We see little children, but consciousness, ego, stupidity is all around us. It's prevalent. The only thing we have to do is get that behind us. In the New Testament, it says, he who loses himself for my sake finds himself. He who loses that idiot personal ego that is the source of all misery in humanity, all sorrow, all hate, all jealousy, all envy, all combativeness, all hostility. That foolish thing that was brought into our DNA, into our karma, however you care to look about it, these graduates, the idea is to get that first out of themselves. We hope that the teachings that were the fundamental basis of what you've studied at each particular level of your studies have helped you to do that, so that you can look anyone in the face that comes to you in a lecture, in a consultation, and simply say to them, get out of your own way. Just get out of your own way. It's not the world that's doing you in, you're doing yourself in. The proverbial house divided against itself. What is it? The conscious mind versus the spirit. The eternal internal war that goes on within the human soul. Each of you, this is a starting place. Intellectually, you have come to a certain point. Spiritually is the rest of it. I know when I got my first doctorate, I thought I had arrived. It was only the beginning. Only the beginning. Frankly, what you find as you go through in the next few years is that you'll come to a point when you'll say to yourself, my God, I think I finally earned it. I finally earned that doctoral recognition. Doctoral meaning a person with great knowledge, if we strip it of academia. And how do you come to that point? From the fulfillment that comes from having been in the pathway of helping someone through a certain part of their lives. But not that you yourself have done it, but that you have possibly guided the person just like a signpost in a highway, but pointing back in upon themselves to that inner path, that divide within the mind where it can go either on a personal or it can go on a universal. All of you, each and every graduate here, any one of you could change the world. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not trying to get on your good side. It has been proven through history the impact that any one person could make. Who knows amongst you here whether there is a Christ mind ready to come forth and blossom? Who knows which of you might be a latent Buddha ready to enter into nirvana and take others with you? Who can say which of you is a Krishna that could enlighten people? Only the God that is within you knows what is before you. That God is the same God that lives within me. It is the God that lived within Jesus. It is that pure mind that lived within Buddha. It is the Brahman that lived within Krishna. We share this. There is one presence in this room. One presence on this planet. One planet, one presence throughout the entirety of this universe, which is no more than the visual manifestation of the mind of God on a physical plateau. Each of us is divinely interconnected with each other. If you were to help somebody on the other side of the earth someday in the future, everyone here would benefit, because it's one more upliftment for the entirety of mankind. That's how valuable each and every one of you is. Those are my opening remarks. Now, I'm going to ask.